Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dig into the weird, wonderful, and often noisy mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, AtlasKirk_62. Thanks for the suggestion, Atlas. You asked, what makes alarm clocks ring? If you've ever been rudely yanked out of a dream about winning the lottery by an ear-splitting beep, you might have wondered, what's going on inside that little box to make it so loud? Today, we're cracking open the mechanics, the beeps, the buzzes, and yes, the occasional soul-shattering bells that make alarm clocks the love-hate gadgets they are. So grab a coffee, because you're awake now anyway, and stick around as we break down the science of waking up, right here on Explaining Everything. Let's start with the obvious. An alarm clock's main job is to wake you up at a specific time. This works through a combination of timekeeping and noise-making technology, both of which have gotten wildly more sophisticated and, in some cases, less humane over the years. At its core, your alarm clock is just a timekeeping device with a built-in "Hey, wake up" feature. Think of it like a regular clock, but with a dramatic flair for loud entrances. How the clock knows when to ring first, it needs to know what time it is. Old-school mechanical alarm clocks utilized gears, springs, and escapements, tiny, carefully arranged pieces of metal that regulate time by controlling the speed at which the gears turn. A wound-up mainspring provides energy, and the escapement makes sure the gears tick at a steady rate. Digital alarm clocks, they use a quartz crystal. Not because they want to be fancy, but because quartz has a magical property. It vibrates at an exact frequency when you run electricity through it. These vibrations get counted by a tiny circuit and, boom, timekeeping happens. Once the clock's internal brain sees that the current time matches the time you set for your alarm, it sends the signal. All right, noise machine, your moment has arrived. How the ringing happens. Mechanical clocks. If you've ever seen an old twin-bell alarm clock, the kind you'd expect in a cartoon, you've seen the literal hammer approach. Inside, there's a small metal hammer connected to the timekeeping mechanism. At the set time, a gear releases and the hammer starts vibrating rapidly between two bells, making that unmistakable ring sound. It's like a drummer trapped in a tiny metal cage. These were effective, sometimes too effective. The noise was so aggressive that it could probably wake your ancestors. How the ringing happens. Digital clocks. Digital alarm clocks don't have hammers and bells. They have speakers or piezo buzzers. When it's go time, the circuit sends an electrical signal to the buzzer. Piezo buzzers are especially popular because they're cheap, reliable, and capable of producing that high-pitched, soul-piercing beep that makes you instantly regret ever needing sleep in the first place. Some digital clocks also let you wake up to the radio. So instead of beeping, they blast whatever unfortunate morning DJ happens to be on. Congratulations, you're now awake and annoyed. Of course, no discussion of alarm clocks is complete without mentioning the snooze button, aka the procrastination of waking up. When you press snooze, the clock's brain just tells the noise machine to stop for a set number of minutes, usually around 9. Why 9? Long story short, mechanical limitations from old designs just kind of stuck around. even in digital form. So yes, centuries of engineering brilliance. And we still can't agree on a nice round 10 minutes. Why do alarm clocks sound so irritating? That's not an accident. Alarm designers choose tones that are hard for your brain to ignore. They're typically loud, repetitive, and in a frequency range your ears are very sensitive to, around 3,000 to 4,000 hertz. That's also the range of a baby's cry, which means your brain is hardwired to say, "Drop everything, something needs attention." Some modern alarms even change their tone or rhythm to make sure you don't tune out the sound while still half asleep. Basically, they're evolving, and not necessarily for the better. Alarm clocks have been around longer than you think. The ancient Greeks had water clocks that could trigger sounds when the water reached a certain level. Medieval monks used candle clocks where a nail would drop onto a metal plate at a set time. Fast forward to today, and we've got smartphone alarms, vibrating wristbands, and clocks that roll off your nightstand and force you to chase them to shut them up. Yes, someone invented that, probably after oversleeping one too many times. The first mechanical alarm clock you could set to any time was patented in 1847 by a French inventor named Antoine Redier. Before that, some clocks had alarms, but you couldn't choose when they went off. They just rang at the same time every day, which is great, if your life is that predictable. Now, of course, we have alarms that connect to Wi-Fi, sync with your calendar, and probably send your boss a text if you oversleep. Fun fact, speaking of chasing alarms, in 2005, an MIT student invented Clocky, a little wheeled alarm clock that jumps off your nightstand and drives around your room until you catch it. If that sounds cruel, that's because it is. But it works. So, what makes an alarm clock ring? It's part timing mechanism, part noise-making device, and part cruel joke designed by engineers to drag you out of bed. Whether it's a hammer hitting bells, a buzzer screaming at you, or a phone playing the worst default ringtone known to mankind, it's all the same mission. End your sleep. And there you have it, the science, history, and slightly evil genius behind your alarm clock. Next time you hear it go off, you'll know exactly what's happening inside that tiny box of chaos. But you'll probably still hit snooze. I'll see you in the next video, preferably after we've all had a full night's sleep. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.